Welcome to the International 3. They're right over there, guys. They're playing now. No, it's not in Los Angeles, but welcome to the International 3. The wildcard match is set to get underway in just a few moments. We've got a full team for you guys here today. Myself and my good man Lumi going to be casting some Dota.
Yep.
Quantic versus Rattlesnake. Best of 5 loser. They don't go home. They get a free trip to Seattle. They get, well, they get a lot of time to think about how they lost.
I heard the hotel was nice.
Yeah.
The food was nice. And according to Boba, the shower was nice. So I'm looking for the showers.
And if you're a true competitive Dota player, you don't care about that.
I do. I'm going there for the showers. Apparently,
this is why he's a caster,
they
not a player.
They don't hose on you, right? It falls on you like the rain.
Blissful peace.
Yeah, blissful. I'm looking for that.
Of course, we're not alone. I'm LD. He's Lumi, but we've got a panel today. It's looking a little dark in that corner, but we've got Merlini, we've got Purge as well.
What does that mean?
I think that means that's actually the complete opposite of what I thought he was going to say. Is like
I meant the lighting, but we can roll with your alternative interpretation as well.
Okay.
You're just being sketchy.
Oh, well, we are here. It's true. We're going to be watching the games. We'll definitely talk about what went right and what went wrong. And I'm really excited, actually. Everybody's been pretty discussing about who they think's going to win. I think Quantic, maybe. Everybody's saying a little bit Quantic, but
I think it was. I would have predicted 60-40 Quantic going in, and Dota 2 Lounge looks like it's like 63-37.
Which is exactly what we base all our predictions on. Is the masses,
wow.
but. It could go both ways. Rattlesnake is also really good. We saw them have some great games during the qualifiers, and Quantic as well played really exceptionally. And they've recently they got second at which tournament was that? They won something recently, didn't they? DreamHack.
LD Quantic. They came second at DreamHack Summer. Okay. Took a game off Navi on the. It wasn't on the main stage. It was before they went to the main stage, I believe. But
so did Arctic.
They beat Team Liquid, and then they beat EG, and then they lost, I think, 0-2.
That was their best tournament run as of late. But they, despite being a wildcard entrant, they're one of the I would say they're one of the scarier Western teams coming to this tournament. Like if you look at the pool of Western teams, Quantic's also a complete unknown. You look at them, and you are staring into the abyss.
Yeah, I think watching some of the player interviews that Hotbid was doing yesterday for Team Liquid, I think Dignitas AUI said that the wildcards teams are probably the most dangerous team to prepare your strats against because you don't really know. And that specifically is true for Quantic because they have like 25 strats, which I'm probably sure that if we're going to go 5 games in the best of 5 series today, we're going to see 5 strats from Go Black for sure. Because if you have 5 games to prepare for your entire, I guess, Dota 2 career, these are the 5 games to have strats for.
Now, how many of those games will not involve Treant and will not involve Bane?
I mean, I'm predicting at least 2 tree picks out of the 5 at the very least.
Godblack hasn't always been a tree lover, though.
Yeah. Before
there was Treant Protector,
there was Tango Eaters.
There was Bane.
Okay.
I don't know how you can love Bane, but he had a deep and meaningful relationship. And
Bane's a good hero. But I mean,
no surprises that didn't work out.
They are the team that in DreamHack Summer bust out Naga, Dazzle, Pugna offensive tri-lane and won in 15 minutes against Alliance. Like that's a team that you cannot be underestimating at all.
So we look at this match, and before we really introduce the teams, dive into it, and analyze it, the context for this, of course, is this is the wildcard match. Last year, it happened sort of ad hoc. Valve didn't anticipate it was going to happen.
Stop using big words.
Yeah, but they ended up happening. MUFC was, I guess, DQ'd or knocked out of the event before it even began. So they had Mouse Sports there, they had World Elite there, and they ended up having an unofficial wildcard match. Now, that wildcard match wasn't going by that name at the time. It was rather disappointing. If I recall correctly, 3-0 Mouse Sports, and every game was a stomp. I don't think this series will be anything like that.
I mean, last year Mouseport thought they were just going there and they weren't going to play.
Yeah.
And that's a fair expectation to be completely honest. But this year we have teams that are preparing 3 months for each other.
Just for each other.
Right. There's a grudge match. I know there's some patches and some heroes change in between. And this is East meets West where neither teams really get practice against each other or their practice partners. So yeah, I think both teams are really pumped up. A lot of the player interviews are saying that Quantic is very confident. And I haven't heard much from Rattlesnake. So I think judging from that alone, I favor Rattlesnake a little bit less.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think the
I'm rooting against the Chinese. Yeah.
So you think the bombast before the match is what matters?
I think a lot of teams, and again, judging from the interviews that I've read and saw, a lot of teams feel like they're good enough to take games off each other. It really matters a lot more how their confidence levels going into the match.
See, personally, I think Rattlesnake is just the strong and silent type. They're just sitting there like, we got this, guys. We got this.
Well, they are dangerous because you don't know what the hell they're doing. We haven't seen them much, right?
That's true.
Well, we've seen Quantic.
Well, we've seen.
I mean, like in the past month, we have no clue what they're up to.
That's true. Like the past 3 to 4 weeks, there's very little match data on these teams. I actually went through every single player in our database trying to find their signature heroes just to update things to get it current. And a lot of these teams have not played an official match since like the 12th of July, and we're almost a month past that. So
I got spies though.
a new patch has come out since then. A lot has changed.
I got spies within every team.
Within Rattlesnake.
Not within Rattlesnake, but I could tell you
That's why you're rooting against them, because they won't let you spy on them.
I could tell you that throughout the tournament there might be some space cow.
Okay.
I could tell you that, like spies.
You and Bruno, your campaign to bring the cow back.
Yeah.
I hate cows.
The cow's back. The cow's being practiced upon. So.
Dude, that hero's imbalanced.
That hero is.
It actually
so
is
good.
ridiculous, and it's imbalanced at all levels. It's definitely imbalanced at the
Is
new.
Go Black gonna
level.
use it? Are we gonna bet on this?
I think I'll use it.
I think he'll use
I
it.
think I'll use it.
Who use what?
Spirit Breaker?
How about
Spirit Cow? Space Cow?
How about Timbersaw? Timbersaw. What do you think?
Oh, that's for
Chitsa?
sure. I mean,
Guaranteed?
S4's been playing it quite a bit.
We're talking about Quantic though.
Today, Quantic.
Yeah. Are you gonna see it today?
I don't know.
I actually have an interesting question. Will Quantic get Tramp Protector once this series?
They will get it once.
Only once, and then they'll win that game. And
Well, I
Rattlesnake will ban it?
predicted 2 games. They'll get it.
Okay.
Because like game 1, they'll probably get away with picking it, and then maybe game 4-ish,
Right.
they'll get it or something like that.
Do you guys actually think Trion's first ban worthy? Seriously?
I
mean,
think
he's good, but
I mean, obviously, I think Godblack should be prepared for the possibility of the hero getting banned, so that's got to be a consideration. But what I don't know.
Calm down there, Aldi.
I'm getting
I know we're
excited.
excited here for
Godblack
Jen.
makes me want to talk. You
Yeah.
know, this guy just brings out the best in me. But when you look at Quantic, I think it is a team where you want to take them out of their comfort zone. You do not want to let the mastermind Godblack start stacking the dominoes up one by one, and then flicks one, and they all start. You have to disrupt the pattern with this team.
I mean, I think 90% of today's bet outcome comes down in drafting, which might not be exciting for a lot of you guys out there, but I think Go Black again has 5 different strategies prepared. They run again. This is from scrims against Navi. They gave away Wisp, Bat Rider, and 3 other top tier pick to Navi.
Yeah.
And they just clean house against Navi. So and I will safely assume that Navi's better than Rattlesnake.
Well, we've been talking a
Bold
lot.
statement.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Quantic. I think that Lumi was the guy who coined the term. Once you go black, you can't go back.
Yeah, people have been stealing my line,
But
man. Hold on.
for Quantic, I mean, Rattlesnake has been. They haven't really. We haven't seen much of them, but they do pull out some pretty unusual strats too. I guess they're pretty unusual compared to a lot of the other Eastern teams, and I wouldn't discount them either.
Your Rattlesnake pick's kind of unconventional compared to sort of
And they lane unconventionally
your
too.
normal heroes.
They did like the Darkseer Clockwork lane like a lot in the TI3 Eastern qualifiers.
it works really well. They won so
Yeah.
many games. They would do like that was like the bane of the solo lone druids. The lone druids go to the lane and they'd be like, "Oh, this is gonna be the easiest lane. It doesn't matter who's here, he'll lose." But then Clockwork with Battery Assault plus the Ion Shell was just
Yeah,
so much
it's
magic
ridiculous.
damage. Just like kill them repeatedly.
But if you actually look at Rattlesnake's drafts a bit closer, a lot of their they pick unusual heroes, like they pick Doombrainer, the Clockwork as a 4 position. But if you really study the games for this team, they pick unusual heroes and unusual lineups, but they do it a lot. Like they have a set group of heroes like the Doom, the Enchantress, the Storm Spirit, and they keep on going back to those. So I think
So you're saying they're not unpredictable?
I think they're unpredictable, like if you've never seen them before. But I think when you actually look at the tape for this team, you get a good sense of how they like to play.
Do they have enough tape from this team though, aside from TI3
Is there
Eastern
any
qualifiers?
relevant tape? That's the real question.
I don't know.
Do these teams have completely new strategies? You would expect. I mean, you expect Quantic to come in with 5 strategies, maybe 1 or 2 that we've seen before, probably 2 or 3 that we haven't. But if you look at Rattlesnake, what do you expect from them?
I mean, the available data for Quantic is to go back to the qualifier matches and look from there, and they will ban out the Storm. Or
I mean, so much stuff has changed since May though. It's like 6.78 has hit, and like
That's fair, but I mean, if you're Quantic, you say, I know they have good Storm, so we will be mentally aware of that. If you're Rattlesnake, you can't say, I know they have a good Spirit Breaker, for example, because you've never seen that. You can't say they have a very good,
Who isn't a good Spirit Breaker?
I guess.
Press Q.
Let me go to watch or learn and see what other, like you can't say, oh, they have a good offlane Warlock. Can you say that Go Black won't do offlane Warlock? I don't know. It sounds horrible, but
I can say he won't do that.
Dignitas did it. I saw them do it.
Dignitas do solo mid Warlock, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But what if, like, oh, I want to do offlane Templar Assassin? Can you prepare against that? I don't know.
Meld level 1, right? You just like
This
hide
was-
in the lane
but-
and sap EXP.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
Lumi. That's the Lumi strat.
Except he accidentally skilled refraction first,
And then
anyways,
just fed.
and then you just fed.
Dude, refraction first is OP, man. I'm just saying.
All right, guys. Well, with that being said, we've talked about the matchup. We've talked about the teams, the stakes. Let's introduce the teams, and then let's dive into some stats, shall we? We'll start with Quantic. These have been updated for the most part. Some of them we don't have birth dates for, so you have Old Man Silent. He's been playing carry for Quantic, which is an interesting transition because for much of his career, he was a support.
113 years old.
Yeah. And still owning. Of course, Funzy. You've got the 3 French. So Quantic is a very interesting team in terms of how they came together. You've got 3 French, and then you've got your Russians. A very unorthodox pairing. I think Napoleon would probably be tossing and turning in his grave, but Funzy's moved past that. He's generally your solo mid, the OD, the puck for him, and you've got your offlaner, your utility hero, Sakshka. The thing with Quantic is I actually was trying to assign them roles, and it's really hard because they do switch their lanes a lot. They're very unpredictable, and the same is true for Rattlesnake, maybe even more so. So take these positions with a grain of salt.
I think, I mean, if you just look at experience and player level comparative to Rattlesnake, these players were part of MTW last year at TI with Cinderin. They won DreamHack last year together over Navi, so these players have seen it. They have been there, they have done that, and I just don't think that they will be phased at all. I can't say for the same for the Rattlesnake squads, so...
Yeah, Rattlesnake has... I can't think of a signature LAN victory for this lineup.
Right.
I mean, some of these players have been around for a while. Kabu attended the International too. A lot of these other players. Ice was on World Elite. So it's not like they lack for experience individually. But as a team, they don't have that moment where they kind of bonded and came together and did really well, took a game off Navi at a big event.
Right.
We haven't seen that from them.
When your tagline... Well, we'll get there later, but...
Position 4.
Yeah.
Fucking mad. Where did he come up with this name? Because he is like the nicest guy you will ever meet in the Dota community. Just watching every interview with him, he's so good-mannered, he's genial.
He's very smart as well. If you guys have not read his blog posts about things like positioning and drafting choices and all that stuff, I recommend you take 5-10 minutes to just go look it up and read it.
It's a double whammy. First, he sucks you in because he's like... Mike Libby. Because he's fucking mad, right? So you're expecting this asshole. Then he turns out to be really nice, so he suckers you in that way. But he's actually a devious mastermind. Like you said, he's got this blog.
Yeah.
And he thinks very hard and well about Dota. But the real mastermind is Mr. Treant Protector himself. He invented Treant. Before he invented Treant, though, he did invent Bane Elemental. Actually has been an innovator for quite some time. And I looked at his team history. I don't know if you realize this, but the only top CIS team that he has not played for is Virtus Pro. He used to play for Navi, played for the old DTS, played for Empire. Goblack gets around.
He's not pro, though. He's not a Virtus pro.
Oh, we're not doing hexagons, Jared.
Oh, really?
Wow, this team is pretty bad.
No hexagons, Jared.
They have 0.
The community spoke. They said no more hexagons.
What?
Bruno ruined them. Bruno ruined them for everyone with his ranking.
Look, all I'm saying is, it ain't me that gave somebody a 4. Somebody,
You're still
other
copying
people colluded and agreed on 4, but it ain't me.
This poor Lumi.
He's
getting all the flack.
I got all the flame, but
Havost hates him
I
now.
don't mind. Like I'm used to being flame all the time, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But I just for the record, I gave
Put on your
nobody
fire
a 4.
suit.
Yeah.
Okay.
He actually gave Favosa 1.
Yeah, and they bumped it up to 4.
He didn't give him a 4 though. That's very true. So guys, the game should be starting fairly soon.
I forgot about Rattlesnake.
Lobby is actually up, but we will introduce Quantic's opponents now. You have Rattlesnake, no hexagons, Kawa, no hexagons, but I would say a very interesting team. When they came out of the gate, this team was crushing. They went deep in the G1 League Season 5 qualifiers. They took down some top teams. Icy, carry player. I would say he's the player on their team that has the most to prove coming into this because he has struggled. He has not been as convincing as some of their other players as of late and some of their players in the past.
Well, now when you said that they came out the gates and they were doing quite well, is it because the other Chinese team never seen it? Like when they run Storms and Dooms and clock Darkster dual lane, that's not a strategy where you say, hey, we could beat this, because they never seen it before.
It was kind of, I feel like with Rattlesnake, maybe there was that LGD international effect, right? Where they come out and they're picking different. And so for a while, teams struggle. Because that's what happened with LGDN. They're running their dual roam G League Season 2. The Chinese teams were totally unprepared for that. But
Massive
since then,
push with Lycan and Luna.
they've
right?
adapted.
Yeah.
So we can move along here. Luo, generally the solo mid, but again, it does vary a lot with this team. So your 3-position player, I think he's one of the most impressive players in all of China. His name is Lam, and you look at his heroes and you're probably scratching your head. Wait, what? He plays carry Tiny, he plays jungle Enchantress, he plays solo mid Storm. Yes, he plays everything, and he is one of the keys to this team's versatility and unpredictability.
Yeah, that in an interview with him, he said that the reason that he switches role a lot within the team is because a lot of his teammates aren't really sure how to play specific heroes and specific roles. So he's kind of your like, well, nobody else knows how to play this. I guess I had to play this. And
He's the Pied Piper.
Yeah, he
come with me.
He just does everything. So very impressive player.
Your 4-position, Kabu, Clockwork Extraordinaire. I think not giving him Clockwork has been a mistake for this team. And one of the things that Rattlesnake has struggled with coming into this match is just settling on some roles and sort of identity for their team. They pick very unorthodox, but it does feel like at times they don't know where they're going. And you see Kabu playing heroes like Crystal Maiden, support Windrunner. Not that he's a bad player by any means, but his Clockwork is great. And I think if you're Rattlesnake, you want to go into this match, play to your strengths.
I mean, at the same time, when they were doing really well with the Clockwork, it was before Clockwork got nerfed with the BKB. The cost can't push it back, and that's a big deal in competitive Dota. You could ask Boba or any top Clock player, and they'll definitely agree.
Boba doesn't really play Clockwork anymore.
Which is a shame, because I really like his Clock, but, you know.
Sagem, last but not least, formerly Neo. Famous for his Earthshaker, the 5-position for this team. But as of late, it hasn't actually been Earthshaker. It's been Visage. Every Chinese team, hell, every team has a Visage player.
Yep.
He's enjoying racking up those kills. It's like playing pinball, except with Dota.
Well, except Chinese.
Your score just keeps going up.
They don't go offensive trialing with Visage, which is just sad.
So we've introduced the teams. We've talked a little bit more about... we've sort of introduced the matchup. The stakes, again, loser goes home. I mean, they get to hang around in Seattle, but... your heart is broken. You might be there in body, but you're not there in spirit. So, best of 5, guys. Game 1 should be starting, looks like fairly soon. Do we have any predictions? What are some of the keys to the match for you? Like Merlini, Perch, what do you think are sort of the keys for Rattlesnake? Because it seems like we've been talking a lot about Quantic, and talking a lot about how Quantic is the favorites, how they seem to have more of a game plan, they've got the better land results. If you're Rattlesnake, how do you tackle that?
I would say maybe just focus on having something that can deal with the living armor a little bit. If you could do maybe even something like Slark on the mid lane and have a favorable matchup there, then it might give you a good enough advantage that it kind of negates that one hero. Dark Pact, of course, does many sources of little damage, so it can break through the tree armor. We all know that Quantic really does want to draft the tree armor protector most likely, so if they can just predict their strats a little bit and then maybe draft other normal stuff, then
what about banning, just straight up banning him though? I mean, they could do that. If they ban that, they have to ban Wisp too, for the most part.
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
they have to give away Bat, which is, I mean,
Bat is scary.
That's a little scary.
It's like a free
But
jungler.
what other options are there? I mean, Slark's like okay mid lane, but you don't want to pick Slark just in hopes of like winning like the first like 10 minutes of one lane. I don't know.
He snowballed pretty well during the qualifiers. I don't know.
That's true.
AL went really far with that hero. But,
that hero's good.
Yeah, he's
surprisingly good.
If he can snowball a little bit and just get a moderate amount of CS, his roaming is really bar none in some ways. Like, you don't need any items. You can have like treads and you are really happy.
Yeah.
Treads and levels and you can do
There's a lot of
amazing
better
things.
heroes I think that can deal. They have like Gyrocopter with Barrage. They
That's
have
true.
Darkseer with Ion Shell. I think those are generally stronger picks. But I think in general, Rattlesnake just needs to be able to adapt. Like for example, if they just do a 2-1-2 lane, that's somewhat predictable, I guess, for Rattlesnake, and Golbak just throws them something totally off. They need to react. They need to rotate a lot early in the first 10 minutes, make sure they don't lose in just the first 10 minutes. I can just see them just straight up getting owned in the lane and then not being able to come back.
Yeah,
so I think that they just need to be able to react accordingly, try and predict as best they can, but just be flexible just in case something strange happens, and it probably is going to happen.
Yeah,
But that's where Quantic is strongest, right? They are best at winning the lanes and just snowballing. That's what they did to Na'Vi. I think it was the Treant Weaver game. If I recall correctly, Silent was like 15-0 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And he was diving Na'Vi to the tier 3s 12 minutes in the game. And this is Na'Vi, one of the strongest teams coming into the International 3, a legendary team in their own right. And Quantic made them look silly.
Yeah.
So you have to win the lanes, and that's where Quantic is strongest.
Yeah, and I really think that instead of trying rack your brain to kind of predict what Quantic's going to do, you're not going to predict them.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what they've been practicing. You have no really real data to go upon because they use different heroes. I really think you just bring your A game and try to just outplay them with your standard game. I think what Merlini talked about is being able to be flexible with your lineup, being able to flexible within the game, rotate early if you need to, or just play late if you have to. Things like that. I don't think you want to kind of go toe-to-toe against Gold Black in the drafting stage. I think you outplay them. And no disrespect to Quantic, I don't think they are a top team in TI if we look at simply mechanic skills, for example.
I actually think if Rattlesnake don't get outdrafted and don't get horribly outlaned, I favor them in this matchup. I think I feel IC is a bit of a weak link for the team, but overall, I look at Rattlesnake and I see support players like Kabu that can have a huge impact. You have Lamb, one of the strongest and most versatile 3 position, if you want to call him that, because he's anywhere from the 3 to the for the 2 to the 4.
Right.
So averages out to 3. Math skills for you, but I do think they have a lot of depth, a lot of versatility, and if they don't horribly lose the draft, I give them the edge.
The thing is, they will horribly lose the draft, though. So, like, this is just a toss-up.
Maybe. What if they come out? What if they come out of the gates and first pick Treant Protector, or just throw? Like, what if they do something to just try and throw Quantic totally off their game?
I mean, it's one thing to have these heroes selected, like Treant Protector or something crazy, but it's another thing to play it. And we know Quantic could play those crazy strats because that's all they practice. I don't know.
Rattlesnake plays Doom.
I'm not sure how crazy it is. We've seen many teams play it now. It's not even.
They also actually lose a lot of their Doom games, unfortunately.
So it's just they can't play the crazy strats, whereas Quantic can. So I mean, I don't think we have given prediction by anybody just yet.
Yeah, we had about 5 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes ago, so we can do predictions. Maybe Merlini can give us the betting odds.
3-0 Quantic. Oh, betting odds 63-37 in favor of Quantic. I think like 60-40 is probably fair value, at least in my mind. I would probably say 3-0, 3-1.
Place your
bets.
Quantic. It's pretty close.
So you say 3-0 Quantic. Same thing as last year. Like Mouse Sports did the World Elite.
3-0.
Quantic will do it again.
And I was like leaning towards the 3-2. I'll say 3-1 based on this new information I've received.
He swayed you.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just trying to get people to bet on Quantic so I can just reap my rares.
See, you have a lot of power.
You don't even know. You don't even know who I'm betting on.
This is not fair. You have a lot of power being on this podcast.
I think he knows what I bet on.
Wow, you could, dude. If you sway the masses,
A
you
couple
can get
thousand?
At least, like,
Oh my God, Quantic is the most amazing team I've ever seen. Oh my
all
God.
your rares.
More rares
Yeah.
because of this.
I'll bet $100 it's going to take less than an hour for them to win all 3 games. But in all honesty, I think 3-0.
You've been figured out before the event started, Merlini. The jig is up. I would say take them away, but like you have to handcuff yourself.
You
now.
hire us for our foresight. the Lumi foresight.
The Lumi foresight.
The Merlumi.
I got spies everywhere, so it's not even foresight.
You have spies everywhere. He's got his secret strats to get the rares. Together.
What about you guys?
Yeah. What about you, LD?
We're talking about your foresight, not your prediction yet.
That's our foresight. Predictions are foresight, right?
I think Quantic is the more exciting team.
Yep.
I think they're the more creative team.
Yep.
I think they're the fan favorite.
Yes.
And I think you shouldn't put your rares on them. I actually think
You shouldn't put your rares on them.
I'm going to go out on a limb here because I really believe that Rattlesnake is the stronger team past the draft. If they don't get outdrafted and if they don't get horribly outlaned, I give them the edge. So I'm going to say Rattlesnake. But Quantic, you cannot count on 3-0ing this team. They'll pull out a pocket strat. They'll win the lanes. They'll do something crazy. I will say Rattlesnake 3-1.
3-1. Okay.
Book it. All your rares.
So I think we all agree on that. We know Quantic's going to win at least one game, at the very least, because they're going to pull out some crazy strat. But I'm going to be with Ben Wu here and say 3-0 Quantic, because for all of the things you say, they're more unpredictable. They're a lot more fun to watch. And to be honest, once they beat Rattlesnake, and to me it's already done, they are going to beat Rattlesnake 3-0. Once they beat the Rattlesnake and they're going to be in Group B, they're going to give all those teams in Group B a hell of a nightmare. And we haven't really talked about the Group A and Group B, and that's saving for another day. But I think, like, how do you prepare against Quantic?
Is this another thing, Lumi? There's like, man, there's a lot of strong teams in this tournament. And then there's Rattlesnake.
You know how you prepare for Quantic? You coach the hell out of Rattlesnake so they beat Quantic so you don't have to play them.
That's true.
All the Chinese teams, there's actually a great, fantastic picture of all 5 Chinese teams with a flag in front of them, and then they had their individual logos on banners in front of them as well.
Chinese flag? Or?
All 5 Chinese teams were united.
Okay.
So, for all we know, Rattlesnake's been getting a little help from some friends like LGD China, Tong Fu.
I know that a lot of the Western teams are refusing to scrim against the Chinese. Don't give away any information. So the Chinese are also
united we stand.
Yeah.
All of it for America.
It's the West versus the East.
USA.
Yeah, this is
USA.
like the Cold War of freaking Dota 2 right now.
It's the new Cold War. Yeah. It's the Cold War Part 2. So I'm outnumbered, huh? 3-1. Everyone's looking at Quantic here.
Yep.
That's about how the masses.
I'm used to it. I can stand the heat.
Quantic easy rare. I'm just all saying.
Easy rares. So the players are starting to join the lobby now, guys. We have 5 Quantic players in, and Rattlesnake are hopping in. The good news is that there won't be any delay on the stream, and there shouldn't. I think it's like a 10-second delay